We have the top four, so let's count it down right now. Zach in graphics is ready, and here we go. Let's start with number 4.
We know this one.
This is going to be Oklahoma, right?
We know this one. Boomer.
At number 4,
all right, there we go.
Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts transfers to Oklahoma, senior quarterback, 4 years in the playoffs.
Down 25 in Waco, come back to win that game, go on, continue to win football games, win the Big 12, and here they are.
This series of fortunate events that have happened for them in the last couple of weeks, right? The Big 12 market correction, Baylor going from 14 to 7, Minnesota, Alabama. Oregon losing was the big one. Because if Oregon beats Arizona State, they're number 5 heading into the Pac-12 title game, and they dominate Utah, they're getting it.
And then Utah losing didn't hurt because then it sort of eliminated and made.
And then Georgia losing. I mean, if you want to keep going on, it's more about
they needed all of it.
Everything kind of just played its way for Oklahoma to fall into that.
It's a quick question here, Joey, as before we count down and go on to number 3. Everybody thinks this is such an easy game for number 1, that this is a de facto bye and the other one's going to be a war. Oklahoma, can they compete? Big 12 has never won a college football playoff game.
All Jalen Hurts does is win. And so if you have Jalen Hurts at your quarterback position, CeeDee Lamb back, healthy, they can beat anybody because they can score points. Now, the defense has been up and down all season long. They've looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, but Oklahoma will not be an easy out.
Imagine sitting here, you're a player, and all you're hearing about is Clemson, LSU, Ohio State. Who's going to luck out and be number 1 and miss Clemson? You're an OU player and coach. That's going to fire them up.
And how about this? 3rd straight year for the Sooners in the college football playoff. 4 years out of 5 to get another chance. Another quarterback. But first it was Baker for a couple times, then Kyler Murray, and now Jalen Hurts getting his shot. Let's look at number 3. We assume this is going to be the Clemson Tigers, the reigning national champions, and it is. Dabo Swinney's team won 28 consecutive games. They have won 2 of the last 3 national championships.
It's going to be interesting. And Kirk, you talk about motivation as they're eating their pizza down at Clemson, and we've seen Dabo these past couple weeks motivating his team. Talk about the disrespect that they've received. Now they're sitting at number 3, and they know they're going to get their shot at either Ohio State or LSU first. And this is this bunch here, they can't wait to get back on the field because of the things that Dabo's talked about and how they've been disrespected along this process.
They can't wait to get back to their pizza. They were like, hey, okay.
Here's the difference with this year versus the other years in the college football playoff. This is the first year people fear number 3. I think for years it's been 1 and 2, and then everybody else. Remember last year? Notre Dame was number 3. They were unbeaten, but no one thought they had a shot against Clemson. They lost that game 30-3. This year, this is the team you want to avoid, and that's why it comes down to who's 1 and who's 2.
You want me to give you a little something on Clemson? First, Clemson ties Alabama with its 5th playoff appearance. That's the most. You know, Dabo and our buddy Tim Bray, they're always looking for first for Clemson. 3 seed and a 1 seed, for that matter. Never won the college football playoff.
Well, there you go.
Clemson could do another first.
I just would say this about Clemson. I think they could be better than they were a year ago when they won it all. And they're different in the way they attack. They're better at quarterback, better at running back, better at receiver. They're not as good on the defensive line. They're better, I think, collectively because of all that they're doing on defense with their back 7, with the linebackers, safeties. So they're sitting there with a major chip on their shoulder, feeling disrespected and excited about their matchup.
And peaking at the right time.
No doubt.
You know, they took a lot of criticism after that 1-point escape from UNC, and Trevor Lawrence was throwing picks. But the way they've played now the last 6 games, they look like a national champion.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, here comes the drama.
Here we go.
Who is at number 2 and will face Clemson in a semifinal on December 28th? At number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State slips from number 1 the last time Ohio State was in the college football playoff. They got a load of Clemson, 31-0. In fact, the Big Ten hasn't scored a point in the college football playoff since Ohio State won the national championship in 2014.
And I will say, much like Clemson in their close game against North Carolina, they were a different team after that. After last night's game and the Big Ten championship game was the first time Ohio State has had to face some adversity, and to come out in the second half and do what they did, they will be a much better football team now that they've faced it, came back from it, and proved that they deserve to be in this playoff. I can't wait to see this Buckeye team now having gone through something and come back to the field. They will be better than they were all season long.
What I love about this matchup and build-up is what Rece just touched on. The last time they met out in Phoenix, it was a blowout. It could have been a lot worse with Deshaun Watson. That's a motivating factor for Ohio State. And in that locker room, where you just saw a shot of Ryan Day, they're going to feel slighted because they're not sitting there at number one. So I think both Clemson and Ohio State have something to prove when they meet up with each other in that
Basically,
Fiesta Bowl.
everybody's slighted except for LSU. Everybody feels like they are going to have great motivation.
You know, and Kirk slipped it in, and because you don't put number one at a geographical disadvantage in any way, that is, we'll get that officially in a minute. But Ohio State Clemson, that is going to be the Fiesta Bowl, and LSU, the Bayou Bengals, making it into the playoff for the first time. They are number one. We'll go to Atlanta, championship game in New Orleans. Last 3 times we've had a national championship game in New Orleans. LSU has been there. Hey, thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more scores, highlights, and analysis, you can download the ESPN app. You've got the ESPN app, right?
Honestly, on Saturdays for college football fans, if you don't have the ESPN app, that's the lifeline for every college football fan. So you have to have that. The live streaming now, ESPN Plus. To me, it's the only way to go. ESPN Plus was key for me recently. Got to get ESPN Plus. Arkansas State, Troy, down to the wire. Loving it. Superdog winner. Thanks to ESPN Plus.